मिलितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिन इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. So today we will be discussing chapter 24 of fourth canto. It's quite a lengthy chapter. There are around 70 verses, if I'm not wrong. 79 verses. So and as a result of that, I've decided to split this into two parts. These days we are not doing the chapters in two parts at all. But however, given the length of the chapter, so I'll split this into two. So today we will be looking up until 32, text 32, and then the remaining one we will see next week. So if you're in a position to read, I would need quite a few readers. We will do this into very small sections and read. So please raise your hand if you are in a position to read. So I've got two hands raised. No worries. So let's go with Arvind Prabhu. Amoga as well. Okay, thank you. So please keep raising your hand, and then we will see what we can do. So our Arvind Prabhu, if you can kindly read first 7 verses.
Sure. Text 1. The great sage Maitreya continued. Vijitasva, the eldest son of Maharaj Prithu, who had a reputation like his father's, became emperor and gave his younger brothers different directions of the world to govern, for he was very affectionate toward his brothers. Maharaj Vijitasva offered the eastern part of the world to his brother Haryaksha, the southern part to Dhumrakesha, the western part to Vrika, and the northern part to Dravina. Text 3. Formerly, Maharaj Vijitasva pleased the king of heaven, Indra, and from him received the title Antardana. His wife's name was Sikandini, and by her he begot 3 good sons. 4. The 3 sons of Maharaj Antardana were named Pavaka, Pavamana, and Suchi. Formerly, these 3 personalities were the demigods of fire, but due to the curse of the great sage Vasishtha, they became the sons of Maharaj Antardana. As such, they were as powerful as the fire gods, and they attained the destination of mystic power, being again situated as the demigods of fire. Text 5. Maharaj Antardana had another wife named Nabashwati, and by her he was happy to beget another son named Haridhana. Since Maharaj Antardana was very liberal, he did not kill Indra while the demigod was stealing his father's horse at the sacrifice. Text 6. Whenever Antardana, the supreme royal power, had to exact taxes, punish his citizens, or fine them severely, he was not willing to do so. Consequently, he retired from the execution of such duties and engaged himself in the performance of different sacrifices. 7. Although Maharaj Antardana was engaged in performing sacrifices because he was a self-realized soul, he very intelligently rendered devotional service to the Lord, who eradicates all the fears of his devotees. By thus worshipping the Supreme Lord, Maharaj Antardana, wrapped in ecstasy, attained his planet very easily.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Okay, there is a bit of genealogy there, but bear with me, I will make it simple. Just to give you a brief background of the previous chapter. In the previous chapter, we had seen how Prithu Maharaj had gone back to the spiritual world. He retired, he handed over the kingdom to his son. The eldest son was Vijitashva, and his wife Archie followed Prithu into the forest. And Prithu Maharaj perfected his life. He gave up his body, and Mother Archie, his good wife, performed the funeral rites and entered the funeral pyre. The both went back to Godhead. It was mentioned that 2 airplanes came, and they took these 2 wonderful personalities in the separate airplanes to Vaikuntha. This was seen by the demigods from the higher planets who were living on the top of Mandara mountain. They could see that because Mother Archie and Prithu were ruling. Prithu Maharaj was king of the Mother Earth. Like that time, he was ruling the earthly planet. So these demigods, they could see sitting or standing on the top of Mandara hill. They could see that these 2 personalities were ascending to Vaikuntha. And then they glorified Archie for her wonderful service to her wonderful husband. And they also mentioned, they glorified the human form of life, although it is very short. See, we demigods, we are still here in the material world. But however, they belong to the earthly planet. So although human life is very short, just by rendering devotional service, they have a wonderful opportunity to go back to Godhead. If one does not use this wonderful opportunity, is wasting his valuable life. And at the end, wonderful benedictions were given. Palashruti, just by hearing Prithu Maharaj's story, one can attain whatever one wants. Especially for devotees, it will strengthen our devotion to Supreme Personality of Godhead. So nice. So I'm planning to read Prithu Maharaj's story again and again. So you can also go and read. And if you have a friend or a family member, just repeat, narrate this story. You can read again and narrate in a simplified form to your friends and family members. A teacher is the best student. So actually, you can learn more by being a teacher. Okay, so with that, so this chapter is entitled "Chanting the Song Sung by Lord Shiva." So after Prithu Maharaj had went back to Godhead, Vaikuntha, Vijitashva, gave different parts of the earth to his different brothers. They were named there. So I'm skipping because if I tell too many names, it may cause some confusion. Okay, so he handed over different parts of Mother Earth to his 4 brothers, north, east, west. And then he had 2 wives. This Vijitashva, his name is Vijitashva, the eldest son of Prithu. He has got another name called Antardana. Okay, just remember. Maharaj's Prithu's son is Vijitashva, eldest son, and his another name is Antardana. Antardana means Lord Indra. You remember when he came to steal the horse, sacrificial horse, the son of Prithu, Vijitashva, did not kill, because he was in the dress of a mendicant. So he decided to spare Indra. and Indra gave him a boon that this Vijitashva can disappear or become invisible whenever he wants. So that's why the name called Antardhana. Antardhana means one who can actually become invisible at his own will. So Maharaj Prithu's son is Vijitashva. Vijitashva handed over the different regions of the Mother Earth to different different brothers, and his another name is Antardhana. And this Maharaj Antardhana or Vijitashva had two wives. First wife name is Shikandini. Through Shikandini, he produced three sons. They are called Pavaka, Pavamana, and Shuchi. These three sons were actually, in the past, they were fire demigods. They were cursed by Vashishta, and that's why they took birth in the womb of Shikandini through Maharaj Vijitashva Antardhana. Okay, so second wife, first wife is Shikandini, had three children. These three children were actually in the past life, they were fire gods. And this Maharaj Antardhana or Vijitashva, our eldest son of Prithu, had second wife, and her name is Nabaswati. So through Nabaswati, he produced one son called Avirdhana. Okay, so this is the important line. The second line we will take, because that's the line. More pastimes are going to be described in this line. So Vijitashva, whose name is also called Antardhana, who is the eldest son of Prithu Maharaj, had second wife named Nabaswati, and he produced a son called Avirdhana. So after producing, giving birth to Avirdhana, Vijitashva, the eldest son, decided to retire. And he worshipped the Supreme Lord, and he performed wonderful devotion, and he attained perfection. So that is being described. So now we just have to remember Vijitashva Antardhana had a son named Avirdhana through his second wife Nabaswati. So we will continue this line now. So next, if you can read EI 215, Lakshman Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yeah.
Haribol.
Haridwana, the son of Maharaja Antardhana, had a wife named Haridwani, who gave birth to 6 sons named Barhisat, Gaya, Sukla, Krishna, Satya, and Jitarvata. The great sage Maitreya continued, "My dear Vidura, Haridwana's very powerful son named Barhisat was very expert in performing various kinds of fruitive sacrifices, and he was also expert in the practice of mystic yoga. By his great qualifications, he became known as Prajapati. Maharaja Barhisat executed many sacrifices all over the world. He scattered kusha grasses and kept the tops of the grasses pointed eastward. Maharaja Barhisat, henceforward known as Prachina Barhi, was ordered by Supreme Demigod Brahma to marry the daughter of Ocean named Satadruti. Her bodily features were completely beautiful, and she was very young. She was decorated with proper garments, and when she came into marriage arena and began circumambulating it, the fire Agni became so attracted to her that he desired her company, exactly as he had formerly desired to enjoy Sukhi. While Satadruti was thus being married, the demons, the denizens of Gandharvaloka, the great sages, and denizens of Siddhaloka, the earthly planets, and Nagaloka, although highly exalted, were all captivated by the tinkling of her ankle bells. King Prachinabarhi begot 10 children in the womb of Shatadruti. All of them were equally endowed with religiosity, and all of them were known as the Prachetas. When these Prachetas were ordered by their father to marry and begot children, they all entered the ocean and practiced austerities and pranechas for 10,000 penances for 10,000 years. Thus, they worshipped the master of all austerity, the supreme personality of Godhead. Shall I continue, Prabhu? Or?
One more.
Yeah. When all the sons of Prachinabarhi left home to execute austerities, they met Lord Shiva, who, out of great mercy, instructed them about the absolute truth. All the sons of Prachinabarhi meditated upon instructions, chanting and worshipping them with a great care and attention.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, so no worries. Just be patient. I will, summarize it in a way that it won't cause any confusion. So remember, Prithu Maharaj, we all know, eldest son name is Vijitashva. Another name of Vijitashva is Antardhana. And he had two wives. First wife is Shikandini, second wife is Nabaswati. Okay. Through first wife, he had produced 3 children. We are not going to discuss that line. So through second wife, he had a son named Havirdhani. And this Havirdhani married to a lady called Avirdhani. Okay, Avirdhana, Avirdhani. Okay, Avirdhana married to Havirdhani, and he produced 6 sons. Okay. Among these 6 sons, the eldest is called Barishat. The eldest is called Barishat. His name is also, I can't find a family tree. Maybe we are allowed to dig out a family tree. So this eldest son is Barishat. Okay. So just remember, this line is coming through the through Vijitashva, eldest son. Okay, so 6 sons he produced. Who produced? Avirdhani, the son of Vijitashva, produced 6 sons, and eldest son is Barishat. Another name of Barishat is Prachina Barhi. So this is where we're going to discuss the story. More stories, more pastimes will come from here. So this Prachina Barihi was a wonderful soul, great personality, always rendering pious activities, and also executed so many, performed so many devotional services. He became one of the Prajapati, patriarch, progenitor of these worlds. Prachina Barihi was elevated to that great level. So this Prachina Barihi, when on the order of Lord Brahma, he was getting married to ocean god's daughter named Shatadruti. This was mentioned in text 11. Prachina Barihi, who was a great soul and who became a progenitor of the mankind, he married to the daughter of ocean named Shatadruti. This was on the request of Lord Brahma, because progenitor means they have to produce, they have to populate. So this Shatadruti's description was given here. She was extremely beautiful. And when she decorated with the proper garments and ornaments, she became more beautiful. She was so beautiful that even fire god desired her company. Yes, in the Vedic system, when when a couple get married, during the marriage ceremony they circumambulate the fire. Yes, they circumambulate the fire. So that means fire is one of the witnesses. So rather than witnessing this great fire god, he actually got attracted, he had developed a desire to have the company of Shatadruti, who was getting married to the king named Prachinabarhi. Okay. So not only fire god attracted to her beauty, but also many other people like demons, denizens of other planets, great sages, and many other demigods. They were all captivated by the tinkling of her ankle bells. So this point here, Prabhupada writes that that attraction between the male and female is there. It is very strong. Just imagine like a fire god, who was supposed to be a witness, who got captivated by the beauty and desired our company, and what to speak of others. So this attraction is there. Prabhupada writes, the solution is simply that one should become a devotee. Otherwise, one will not check the forces of these senses. They are very strong. Only a devotee of the Lord who is attracted by Krishna can escape the desires. Once one is attracted by Krishna, the illusory energy of the world cannot attract him. So this is the point. The attraction will be there. That's why the mingling is reduced always. One should not unnecessarily spend time talking to the opposite sex, and especially in a lonely place or anything like that. Only one should talk to the opposite sex, just to like as much as necessary. That's it, and then stop. And ideally, you can also speak. You should speak, in the presence of another person. I've seen many times in ISKCON devotees and some sannyasis, if they want to speak to another person, opposite sex, then they would do that. So basically, reduce the contact and associate as much as necessary. That's it. And Prabhupada mentions the strong point. This illusory energy can be overcome when one becomes a devotee of the Lord. We know the story of, can anybody remember the story in this connection of a devotee? Amog Das, Amog Prabhu, you should remember this story.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Haridas Thakur. You know the story of Haridas Thakur?
Yes, Prabhuji. So Haridas Thakur was he was trying to influence by a woman who was sent by some envious Muslim king. And then, even though she was there needed to Haridas Thakur over the night, but Haridas Thakur, he was always chanting, so just waiting, make her wait, so for a couple of days, and then finally she became a devotee of Lord.
Jai. So that was the power of Haridas Thakur. So And there is one beautiful verse in this connection in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I'll just recite. So the forces are very strong, the urges are very strong. Shaknoti haiva yah shodhum praksharira vimokshanat kama krododbhavam vegam sayuktaha sasukhi naraha. Before giving up this present body, one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger, lust and krodha, lust and anger, desire and anger. Tolerate the urge and then check the force of desire and anger. He is well situated and is happy in this world. So we should do this before giving up this present body. We should be able to somehow or other get to that level, tolerate the urge of the material senses and force the check the force of desire and anger. And this is only possible through devotion, not by any other means. As one becomes advanced in devotional service, one becomes steady and able to check these forces. Okay, so yeah, and so Prachina Barihi was a great king, and he had 10 sons. He had produced 10 sons. He had begotten 10 children in the womb of Shatadruti. So all these 10 children of Prachina Barihi are collectively known as Prachetas. They got one term, Prachetas, all these 10 sons. The very, very religious people, all these 10 sons of Prachina Barihi. Like father, like son, as they say. The father was very religious and the sons were also very religious. And father, the king Prachina Barihi, had ordered that, oh, my sons, get married, beget children. And then at that time, they did not directly marry immediately, but they decided to undergo some austerities, undergo some penances before getting married. So that was the system. Let us practice devotion and let us try and control and achieve, attain some kind of perfection, spiritual perfection, then get married. That's what they decided. And it is said that, yeah, so before producing children, if you engage yourself in devotional service, and you will most likely produce good children, most likely to produce good children who are spiritually inclined. So that was their aim. And that's why, so what they did was they entered the ocean and submerged in the ocean for 10,000 years. How many? 10,000 years. But they were living in those age for, hundreds of thousands of years. They were not of Kali Yuga people. They were of a different age. The lifespan was much longer. So that nobody would disturb. If I enter into the ocean, that nobody would disturb. That was their idea. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, very beautiful point. Prabhupada writes, for us, the point is, by the grace of Lord Chaitanya, one who chants the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, attains the highest perfectional stage, which had previously been attained by the people who entered the ocean and executed austerities for 10,000 years. In this age of Kali, if a person does not take advantage of chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, which is offered as a great concession to the fallen human beings of this age, it is to be understood that he is very much bewildered by the illusory energy of the Lord. So for us, there is a concession. No need to enter into the water. Don't jump into the well. Don't go and jump into a lake or a river to try and practice, meditation or yoga. Prabhupada said that there is a concession. Simply chant, remain at home, chant Hare Krishna mantra, and engage your family members in chanting Hare Krishna mantra. So this is it. No need to undergo austerities for 10,000 years. Simply, we have to just follow those 4 regulative principles, stick to it. So what are the 4 regulative principles? Namely, no meat eating, no illicit relationship, no intoxication, and no gambling. And then chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna mantra. This is the concession for all of us. Something need to be done. And somebody may ask, oh Prabhu, what is why should I do? You said that there is concession. Should I not give up the 4 regulative principles? Something has to be done. If you have £1 million mortgage on your house, and if the banker comes and asks you to pay £1,000, at least you should pay £1,000. Don't expect that you even that little £1,000 you don't want to. So Prabhupada writes that in the purport to the text 14. So when these sons left home to execute austerities, they met Lord Shiva. This is a very interesting aspect. Out of great mercy, Lord Shiva had instructed them on the path of absolute truth. And all these sons, Prachetas, they followed the orders of Lord Shiva and worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead with care and attention and achieved perfection. So Prabhupada writes here a wonderful point that because they wanted to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shiva appeared to them. And he had instructed. And they followed Lord Shiva's instruction. And what we have to do, we have to follow Prabhupada's instruction. Simple. No need to, add anything or subtract anything. Just follow Prabhupada. They had attained similarly when Dhruva Maharaj, we read the story of Dhruva, when he went to forest, he had met Narada Muni, and Narada advised him to chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and had given some rules and regulations, some do's and don'ts. And Dhruva Maharaj, did exactly what he was told to do so. Similarly, Prabhupada writes in the purport, we have to do the same thing. If we follow the orders of Srila Prabhupada, then we can also attain perfection. Okay, so next section is a small one, 16 to 17. Anyone can read, just a short one there. Okay, so Anupama Radhika, you can read, and then we'll continue further. 16 and 17. Are you there, Anupama Radhika? I can't hear you.
I was muted, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yeah, I was muted. Sorry.
No worries.
Text 16. Vidura asked Maitreya, my dear Brahmana, why did the Prachetas meet Lord Shiva on the way? Please tell me how the meeting happened, how Lord Shiva became very pleased with them, and how he instructed them. Certainly such talks are important, and I wish that you please be merciful upon me and describe them. The great sage Vidura continued, O best of the Brahmanas, it is very difficult for living entities encaged within this material body to have personal contact with Lord Shiva. Even great sages who have no material attachments do not contact him, despite their always being absorbed in meditation to attain his personal contact. Thank you.
So here, just to stay tuned. So here we know that this is a discussion between Vidura and Maitreya. This discussion started in the beginning of third canto, and it is going on. So Maitreya was explaining to Vidura, and Vidura was asking questions now and then. So here, Vidura wanted to know a little more. Like, you said that these Prachetas, they had met Lord Shiva on their way. Oh, Lord Shiva is like, why did he meet? And how, what was they discussed? And how come Lord Shiva was very pleased with them and instructed? And Lord Shiva was, having darshan of Lord Shiva, audience of Lord Shiva is not easy to get. How did they get it? Common people, even great people, take a great struggle to, get the audience of Lord Shiva. So they wanted to know more about this meeting that occurred between Lord Shiva and Prachetas. So Vidura wanted to know more about that, and he asked, and then our Maitreya, explains further. Carry on, Mataji.
Lord Shiva, the most powerful demigod, second only to Lord Vishnu, is self-sufficient. Although he has nothing to aspire for in the material world, for the benefit of those in the material world, he is always busily engaged everywhere, and is accompanied by his dangerous energies like the goddess Kali and the goddess Durga. The great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, because of their pious nature, all the sons of Prachina Barhi were very seriously accepted the words of their father with heart and soul, and with these words on their heads, they went toward the west to execute their father's order. While traveling, the Prachetas happened to see a great reservoir of water, which seemed almost as big as the ocean. The water of this lake was so calm and quiet that it seemed like the mind of a great soul, and its inhabitants, the aquatics, appeared very peaceful and happy to be under the protection of such a watery reservoir. In that great lake, there were different types of lotus flowers. Some of them were bluish, some of them were red. Some of them grew at night, some in the day, and some, like in the Indiravara lotus flower, in the evening. Combined together, the lotus flowers filled the lake so full that the lake appeared to be a great mine of such flowers. Consequently, on the shores, there were swans and cranes, chakravakas, karandavas, and other beautiful water birds standing about. There were various trees and creepers on all sides of the lake, and there were mad bumblebees humming all about them. The trees appeared to be very jolly due to the sweet humming of the bumblebees, and the saffron, which was contained in the lotus flower, was being thrown into the air. These all created such an atmosphere that it appeared as though a festival were taking place. The sons of the king became very much amazed when they heard vibrations from various drums and kettle drums, along with other orderly musical sounds pleasing to the ear.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
So Maitreya is describing what had happened when Prachetas had left. So they reached, following the instructions of their father. So they went out to perform these austerities, and they came to a huge lake. It's as big as ocean. It is calm, very peaceful there, and like a mind of a saint. Great saint of a mind. Mind of a saint is very calm and peaceful. It was compared like that, and the inhabitants were also very peaceful. If the head is peaceful, the followers will also be peaceful. And there were so many flowers and birds were there. It was filled with various beautiful lotuses and sweet sounding birds, swans, cranes, chakravakas, etc. There was the entire atmosphere. Here is like a festive atmosphere. There were wonderful trees, creepers, and humming bees. And so the entire atmosphere was very, very pleasant. And that time, Prachetas, heard some musical sound, attractive, celestial songs. So that's what happened. And then let's continue from 24 to 32. Who would like to read the next section? Ambara Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Now we can't hear you. Haribol?
Okay. The Parachetas were fortunate to see Lord Shiva. The Parachetas, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I can hear you well. Okay, nothing to do with screen then.
What did he say? Sorry, I couldn't hear. Is he going to read or not going to read?
I think it's somebody else, if you can hear me.
Okay, somebody else. Okay, somebody else can read it.
Can I read?
Please go ahead.
The Prachetas were fortunate to see Lord Shiva, the chief of the demigods, emerging from the water with his associates. His bodily luster was just like molten gold. His throat was bluish, and he had 3 eyes, which looked very mercifully upon his devotees. He was accompanied by many musicians who were glorifying him. As soon as the Prachetas saw Lord Shiva, they immediately offered him obeisances in great amazement and fell down at the lotus feet of the Lord. Lord Shiva became very pleased with the Prachetas because generally Lord Shiva is the protector of pious persons and persons of gentle behavior. Being very much pleased with the princess, he began to speak as follows. Lord Shiva said, "You are all the sons of King Prachin Bhari, and I wish all good fortune to you. I also know that what you are going to do, and therefore I'm visible to you just to show my mercy upon you." Lord Shiva continued, "Any person who is surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, the controller of everything, material nature as well as the living entity, is actually very dear to me. A person who executes his occupational duty properly for 100 births becomes qualified to occupy the post of Brahma. And if he becomes more qualified, he can approach Lord Shiva. A person who's directly surrendered to Lord Krishna or Vishnu is unalloyed devotional service is immediately promoted to the spiritual planets. Lord Shiva and other demigods attain these planets after the destruction of this material world. You are all devotees of the Lord, and as such, I appreciate that you are as respectable as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. I know in this way that the devotees also respect me, that I am dear to them. Thus, no one can be as dear to the devotees as I am. The great sage Maitreya continued.
No. 31. Text 31.
Sorry. Now I shall chant one mantra which is not only transcendental, pure and auspicious, but is the best prayer for anyone who is aspiring to attain the ultimate goal of life. When I chant this mantra, please hear it carefully and attentively. Shall I continue?
32 also, text 32.
Okay. The great sage Maitreya continued, out of his causeless mercy, the exalted personality Lord Shiva, a great devotee of Lord Narayana, continued to speak to the king's sons who were standing with folded hands.
Thank you very much. So let me show a couple of pictures. So when the Prachetas were, about to enter, I think, in the, into the pond, they saw Lord Shiva appearing in front of them with, accompanied with several of his assistants who were glorifying Lord Shiva. Let me just show this picture. So you can see here, the Prachetas were standing here and on the ground, and they, Lord Shiva and his associates appeared in the sky, and the complexion of Lord Shiva described here is molten gold. He can appear in different colors, but whenever he appears to devotees, then he usually appears in that color, molten gold. And then there is another picture. This is another picture. It describes the same thing, but just a different way. So many nice flowers are there. Environment is, you can see that such a birds were also flying there, and a wonderful environment. Okay, so and Lord Shiva, he appears them, and as soon as they saw Lord Shiva, they offered obeisances. Lord Shiva appeared along with his associates from the lake. Shiva said that I'm very pleased because you are going to perform devotional service onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. That's why I'm very much pleased with you. And that's why good fortune unto you. I know your plans. I have come here to give you my mercy. So the thing is, if Lord Shiva will always give us blessings, because he knows that we are worshipping Lord Krishna. Automatically, by worshipping Lord Krishna, we very much become dear to Lord Shiva. So these Prachetas, they wanted to worship Lord Krishna, and that's the reason Lord Shiva appeared to them and said that I'm here, good fortune to you. I'm here to give my blessings to you. So Prabhupada writes, so when we become the devotee, try to become the devotee of the Supreme Lord Krishna, then we please all the demigods. All the demigods. Automatically we please. So, and this one is, he says, Krishna's devotee is very dear to me. 28, text 28 is very important if you want to memorize. I'll just recite the text 28. Yaha param ramhasaha sakshat triguna jiva samgnitat bhagavantam vasudevam prapannaha sa priyo hime. This is the famous line, Bhagavantam vasudevam prapannaha sa priyo hime. So prapannaha means one who surrenders unto Vasudeva, Bhagavan Vasudeva. Sa, that person, priyo hime, that person becomes very dear to me. This is what Lord Shiva tells. So we are all very dear to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva must be hearing this conversation. So we are trying to take shelter of Lord Krishna. So that's why we automatically become dear to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva tells another point here. Please, in 29, he says that the various levels of achievement. If one performs one's duty perfectly for 100 births, yes, for 100 births, if one performs one's duty properly, for 100 births, he attained the post of a Brahma. And if one further advances, one may have the association of Shiva. But by unalloyed devotion, one will attain the supreme Vaikuntha planet, which is very rare to obtain even to the demigods. So the devotees' ultimate goal is to obtain the Vaikuntha and render service. So here, Lord Shiva is telling that it is so great that you are, actually surrendering yourself to the Supreme Lord, which is very rare to obtain this Vaikuntha. You see, like if one performs one duty for 100 births, one get the post of Brahma. You can all apply to the post of Lord Brahma. But and then if one further advances, then one may get the association of Shiva. But however, a devotee achieves even better result than these two. That is Vaikuntha, which is rare to obtain to the demigods, by the demigods. And then the text 30 is a famous verse, very, very famous verse. So text 30, and you're all devotees of the Lord. And as such, I appreciate that you are as respectable as the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. See, because you are devotees of Krishna, you are as respectable as Krishna himself. This was it is said by Lord Shiva. I know in this way that the devotees also respect me because I am dear to them. Thus, no one can be as dear to the devotees as I am. So basically, Lord Shiva is telling, you are devotees of Lord Krishna. I will respect you. I will offer you as much respect as I offer to Krishna. Similarly, I am also great devotee of Krishna, and the devotees of Krishna, knowing this, they will also offer their respects to me. So Prabhupada writes a very, very beautiful purport for this one. Then he says, having said this, then he said, now I will instruct you. I will chant a mantra, with which you can attain ultimate goal of life. I will help you in your devotional service. Please hear it very carefully. And after saying that, so Lord Shiva mentioned as Narayana Paraha. Narayana Paraha means the great devotee of Lord Narayana continue to instruct them. And he chanted this prayer, which is called Rudra Gita prayer. And so which in glorification of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So all prachetas, they will hear this and they will repeat it. But we will see that in the next session. But we can, in the meantime, just read the purport to text that you would like to read, this last and final. It will take 2 minutes and we will conclude the session here.
I'll read.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Purport. It is said, Vaishnavanam yathas Shambhu. Lord Shiva is the best of all devotees. Therefore, all devotees of Lord Krishna are also devotees of Lord Shiva. In Vrindavana, there is Lord Shiva's temple called Gopishwara. The gopis used to worship not only Lord Shiva, but Katyayani or Durga as well. But their aim was to attain the favor of Lord Krishna. A devotee of Lord Krishna does not disrespect Lord Shiva, but worships Lord Shiva as the
most exalted devotee.
As the most exalted devotee of Lord Krishna. Consequently, however, a devotee worships Lord Shiva. He prays to Lord Shiva to achieve the favor of Krishna, and he does not request material profit. In Bhagavad Gita 7:20, it is said that generally people worship demigods for some material profit. Kamaistair hrita jnana prapadyante anya devataha. Driven by material lust, they worship demigods. But a devotee never does so, for he is never driven by material lust. That is the difference between a devotee's respect for Lord Shiva and an asura's respect for him. The asura worships Lord Shiva, takes some benediction from him, misuses the benediction, and ultimately is killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who awards him liberation. Because Lord Shiva is a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he loves all the devotees of the Supreme Lord. Lord Shiva told the Prachetas that because they were devotees of the Lord, he loved them very much. Lord Shiva was not kind and merciful only to the Prachetas. Anyone who is a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is very dear to Lord Shiva. Not only are the devotees are dear to Lord Shiva, but he respects them as much as he respects the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Similarly, devotees of the Supreme Lord also worship Lord Shiva as the most dear devotee of Lord Krishna. They do not worship him as a separate personality of Godhead. It is stated in the list of Nama Aparadhas that it is an offense to think that chanting of the name of Hari and the chanting of the name of Hara or Shiva are the same. The devotees must also know that Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and that Lord Shiva is his devotee. A devotee should be offered respect on the level of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and sometimes even more respect. Indeed, Lord Rama, the Personality of Godhead himself, sometimes worship Lord Shiva. If a devotee is worshipped by the Lord, why should a devotee not be worshipped by other devotees on the same level with the Lord? This is the conclusion. From this verse, it appears that Lord Shiva blesses the asuras simply for the sake of formality. Actually, he loves one who is devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So this is a wonderful point. From this verse, it appears that Lord Shiva blesses the asuras simply for the sake of formality. Actually, loves one who is devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's the point. So, cheating mercy. He appears to give mercy, but it is a cheating mercy when he blesses Ravana, when he blesses other demons. Mercy with cheating. But he actually blesses the devotees of Krishna very much. Okay, so quickly, 1 minute summary. So in this chapter, we had seen in the lineage of Vijitashva, the eldest son of Prithu Maharaj, there is a person called Prachina Barhi. That Prachina Barhi married to Shatadruta, daughter of ocean god. She was very attractive and very beautiful. and he begot 10 children in her womb. They are collectively known as Prachetas. When they were ordered by their father to marry and beget children, they decided to perform austerities before getting married. And as for that reason, they decided to go to lake and get submerged and perform austerity for 10,000 years. And they happened to meet Lord Shiva when they, when they were planning to do this. And Lord Shiva explained to them. He was very pleased. He know the fact what they are going to do, and he appeared to them to give his blessings. And he said that because you are devotees of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, you are very dear to me. I respect you all. And, and devotees of Lord Krishna also respect me in the similar way. Now I will chant a mantra. Please listen and you repeat that. You will achieve the perfection. And that is called Rudra Gita. We will see that in next session. Hare Krishna. We'll have to stop there. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya krupa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.